The second rahasya is called catch 24. Add 2 to the 22. So it is catch 24. When we look into some of the global spots, you travel to the North America. I'm sure Trump is very welcoming of everybody. So is Elon. So if you go to North America, above you have Canada, which has not yet become the 51st state. Below the US, we have Mexico. So Mexico, the Tropic of Cancer runs through it. In Mexico, you have very many pyramids, which are roughly between 500 and 1800 years old. One of the pyramids is dedicated to Surya, the sun. So it is called the Pyramid of the Sun. There is one pyramid that is dedicated to the moon. There is one pyramid that is dedicated to the feathered serpent. Remember these pyramids. You come further east. In the African continent, you have Egypt. And in and around the Nile River, in a place called Luxor, you have a temple for the sun. Earlier, you had a pyramid for the sun, which is in a dilapidated state. You come further east, in Bharatadesham, in Gujarat, right bang on the Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degrees, you have a temple dedicated to Surya called Modhera. You have a temple in Bihar, constructed around the 6th and the 7th century called Dev, where a poet who was suffering from leprosy and was a blind poet prayed to Surya to get cured. It is called Surya Shatakam, and that is a temple dedicated in Bihar to the sun. You have a temple in Gujarat which is dedicated to the sun. Sun is called by various names. One of the names is Arkaha. Whenever we deal with the geometry, we either deal with angles or circumferences. So when it falls in a certain angle, you're all extremely adroit in this, but I'm just telling you basic things. The earth goes around the sun. First, it does a swapradakshinam. It does a pradakshinam around itself. That is called as rotation. Then it does a pradakshinam around Surya, which is called revolution. Third, it also shakes. It's called wobbling. So rotation, revolution and wobbling. And aside that, the earth is tilted at an angle of 23.5. So there are so many things that go around. So when the sun's rays falls on Mother Earth, it falls at a certain angle. An angle is called kona. Surya is called Arkaha. When Arkaha, Surya's rays falls at an angle, kona, Arka, Konark. We get that word, right? Konark. Konark, Dev, Modhera, temple in Luxor in Africa, pyramids of Egypt, they all fall. Now you look at this, it's extremely important to understand this rahasya. If you skip a few slides, maybe 5 or 6 slides, you will see one slide that has got 4 pictures of pyramids, like a collage. Can you see the slide that has got 4 pyramids in it? So you see these are all pyramids. Top left, top right, top below left. 3 pyramids are found in Mexico. Now I told you there is a pyramid for Surya and the feathered serpent. Serpent is a snake. Now people were wondering, where is this serpent? Because there is no serpent. If you look into the third picture, the bottom left picture, at the bottom of the pyramid, do you see a head of the snake? Do you see the head? Now, people were wondering where the body is. One day, the security person who was responsible for the maintenance of this premises was walking by. The rays of the evening sun were falling on the pyramid. Since the pyramid has got isosceles structures on its surface, when the rays of the sun fell on it, its shadow fell on it. And the shadow looks like the body of the snake. Can you see that? So this is the third. And the fourth is actually a pyramid in a dilapidated state dedicated to Surya, found in Egypt. Next slide, you see the Modhera temple in Gujarat. Right hand side, the Dev temple in Bihar. And the very famous UNESCO World Heritage Site called Konarka Kshetra in Odisha. Now, whatever I've spoken about Surya in the form of temple or pyramid, in all these countries from Mexico to Kambuja Desham, you see the next slide, which is a 2D depiction of the world atlas. You see a dotted line, that is Tropic of Cancer. You see one line above and below the Tropic of Cancer. Between these two lines, all the temples of Surya fall. Whatever I've said falls within this. Now, that is where Gujarat also comes. That is why in Gujarat, we had earlier a businessman called Satrajit. It is his daughter called Satyabhama who's married to Krishna. And the charitram that goes about the marriage is Krishna asked for a gem that he had received from Surya called Syamantakamani. Satrajita Suryasya Paramasakha, says Bhagavatam. So, that region in Gujarat had a lot of Surya worship. Surya is also called by the name Saura. That is why that region itself was called Saurashtra. During invasions, those people moved southwards from Gujarat to Maharashtra to Karnataka to Tamil Nadu. They settled 800 years back around Madurai. They thought when they were in Gujarat, they used to make textiles. So they were inspired of the beautiful patterns found on the Rani Ki Bab, the 11th century stepwell built by Udayamati for her husband Bhima the First. Those wall panels became the print called Patola. Have you heard of Patola? So this Rani Ki Bab inspired the textile 1000 years back. When they settled in Madurai, they thought their life is a shunyam. Life is gone because you've been excommunicated, you've been on an exile in your very own desham. So shunyam is zero. Life is a big zero. This shunyam inspired them to come up with a new print called Shungudi. This Sungudi print has all those circles. Even till date, every night to Meenakshi of Madurai, they give this Sungudi print every day. So the Saura worship, Surya worship has been a part of our civilization for a very long time. But you may ask, why sir? If Egypt worshipped the sun, why don't they worship today? Because this is the only civilization that has had acharyas who resisted any religious conversion. That is why it has managed to survive till now. That said, if you go to the next, before I get into the deep Ramayanam, I'm amazed to show you this architecture. The next part, the next slide. Do you see a standing figurine with a person seated at his feet? The person seated at his feet is his charioteer called Aruna. The one who's standing is Surya. And Aruna, the charioteer, holds reins of 7 horses. So this is the Surya Mandala that is depicted. Where is this found? It is found in the Virupaksha temple of Karnataka. 1300 years old. Where is it? It is on the ceiling. Whatever you're seeing is in the ceiling. It is a monolith. How they even sculpted it without having a mask. Today we give a small 40 rupee birth bag in a marriage and we say, please take this. This is a handmade bag. What is this? Is it machine made? This is also handmade. But we do not probably know the scale of what kind of handwork they did. The next slide is depictive of Surya who's standing. Again you see the zoomed part near his feet. Aruna seated. 7 horses below. Can you see it? This is of the Pala dynasty from Bengal. This idol, 1000 years back idol, is now spotted in the conference building in the United States. But we just don't charge tariff for it. Okay, so all that I wanted to tell you was about Surya worship. Now, what is the greatness of Surya? There was a traveler from the European continent 2000 years back. His name was Herodotus. He traveled all the way crossing the European land and entered Persia, which is Iran. What a day to speak about Iran. Now, because those were all ancient civilizations, remember. So while he traveled to Persia, he records in his travelogue, suggesting that he saw a lot of people suffering from skin disorder. They were all lepers. They suffered from kushtarogam called leprosy. Kushtarogam is leprosy. So the moment they spotted people as lepers, he says in his memoir that people used to excommunicate them. And he says, it seems they used to believe in Persia that only if you have committed papas against Surya, you will get leprosy. On the other hand, 1400 years back in Dev, I told you about a Kavi called Mayura Kavi who wrote a 100-verse poem called Surya Shatakam. He says, Shigragranang gripanin branibhirapa ghanair gargara vyakta ghoshan Dirgha ghratana goghaihi punarapi ghatayat eka ullaghayanya Gharmamshostasya vontar dviguna ghana grina nirghna virnighna vritte Dattargha siddha sanghair vidadatu ghrinayaha shigramamho vighatam. The commentator says, Kushtaroginaha saha, those who had leprosy. In Bharata Desham, they used to be taken care. They were not excommunicated. They used to be left below the sun so that they receive the rays of the sun, because we believe that good health comes as a result of Surya. This is our belief. Arogyam bhaskaradicchet shriyam icchet hutashanat Ishvaraha jnanam anvichet moksham icchet janardanat. This is a prachina subhashita. Good health, ask Surya. Today there is a blood test also, they ask check your vitamin D. So Surya gives us good health. Have we believed that? Yes. Who has believed? Rama has believed. When Rama was tired fighting Ravana, that is when it is believed Agastya Maharishi came. Tato yuddha parishrantam samare chintaya sthitam Ravanam cha agrato drishtva yuddhaya samupasthitam daivataischa samagamya drashtumabhyagatoranam Upagamya bravidramam agastyo bhagavan rishihi Rama Rama Mahabaho shrunu guhyam sanatanam yena sarvan narin vatsa samare vijayishyasi aditya hridayam punyam sarva shatru vinashanam jayavaham jape nityam akshayam paramam shivam. So he is the one who gives us good health. So Rama wanted Red Bull. What will give him energy? Aditya Hridayam for good health. Second, this is the 250th year of a great composer called Muthuswami Dikshita. He says, Karya Karanatmaka Jagat Prakasha Simharashya Dhipate Arya Vinuta Tejasphute Arogyadi Phaladakirte Arogyadi Phaladakirte Surya Murte. So Surya bestows good health. From Valmiki till Muthuswami Dikshita they have suggested. So you need good health. Now, how does the Surya travel? This is where there is a subtle difference. I am sure you are all extremely patient to understand. Astronomically, Earth goes around the sun. This is the truth. Astrologically, we believe that the sun travels. Because from our point of view, in the morning he is in the east, in the evening he is in the west. So who has traveled? He has traveled. This is our belief. So the entire construct is based on it. Now when he has to travel, he needs a vehicle. What is that vehicle? His vehicle is a ratha, chariot. How many wheels does it have? Vishnu Puranam says one wheel called Samvatsaram. How is that driven? Surya has engaged his Sarathi called Aruna. Who is Aruna? The name itself suggests the one who has got red complexion. That is why during the sunrise, you see the rays of the sun red. It is called Arunodayam. Then comes Suryodayam. That is why Maniratnam says, Sekkachivandadu Vanam. It is red, right? So Arunodayam, then Suryodayam. So Aruna drives the chariot. Now what will he drive with? 7 horses. Why 7? It was simple. We believe in a prism when white light passes, it leads to a spectrum of 7 colors. Vibgyor, we say. Beyond V is ultraviolet, beyond R is infrared. This is how you get the spectrum of 7 horses. What are these 7 horses? Remember, they are all allegorical depictions of meters in Sanskrit. In Japan, there's a famous way of writing short poems. It is called haiku. It will have 7, 5 and 7 syllables. In English, during the colonial period, it was very famous to come across 14-line poetry called sonnet. In the Tamil, we have the meter called Kural Nadai. Nadai means it's a meter. Kural Nadai. We call it Tirukkural. Right? Kural is the name of the meter. 1330 couplets in chaste Tamil Thiruvalluvar wrote in the meter called Kural. You know what does Kural mean? Dwarf. Vamana in pure Tamil is called Kural. Mani Kuralane Talelo, says Alvar. Kural means short. Why is this meter called short? Because in Tirukkural, 2-lined poetry, the second line will be shorter than the first. So it is called Kural Nadai. Similarly, in Samskrita Veda Bhasha, you have 7 meters. The first meter will have 24 letters. If you understand this, then it's easy for us to tell the story. First horse or first meter has 24 letters. The last meter will have 48 letters. So you have a gap of 4. 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, 44, 48. 7 horses. The first horse that depicts 24 letters is called Gayatri. You have understood what Gayatri is? Gayatri is not the name of the next door mommy. She may have that name, but Gayatri is the name of the 24-lettered, allegorically depicted horse that Aruna rides in the chariot where Surya is seated. So the first horse is called Gayatri. How many letters? The second is 28 letters. That horse is called Ushnik. That is called Ushnik. The next horse will have how many letters? 32. 24, 28, 32. 32-lettered horse is called Anushtup. That is why Vishnu Sahasranamam is full of Anushtup Chandaha. It will have 8 into 4, 32 letters. Next is 36 letters, Brihati. Next is 40-lettered verse called Pankti. Next is 44-lettered verse called Trishtupu. Then 48-letter verse called as Jagati. So from Gayatri to Jagati, 24 to 48, we have 7 horses. The first horse is called Gayatri. So Gayatri is the name of a meter. What is this meter used for? For every devata, for everyone whom we propitiate in Sanatana Dharma, they will have one Gayatri. Vishnu Gayatri, Narayanaya Vidmahe Vasudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishnu Prachodayat. That is Vishnu Gayatri. Lakshmi Gayatri, Mahadevya cha Vidmahe Vishnu Patni cha Dhimahi Tanno Lakshmi Prachodayat. That is Lakshmi Gayatri. Rudra Gayatri, Tat Purushaya Vidmahe Mahadevaya Dhimahi. That is Mahadeva, Rudra Gayatri. The famous amongst Gayatris is Surya Gayatri. That Surya whom we propitiate is called Savita. The mantra that we use to refer to him is Gayatri. So Surya, Savita plus Gayatri became Savitri without the Gemini. So this is Gayatri mantram. Now, this Gayatri is used to invoke Surya Devata and the Madhyavarti. Deyasada Savitramandala Madhyavarti Narayana Sarasija Sanasanyavishtaha Keyuravan Makarakundalavan Kiriti Hari Hiranmaya Vapuhu Dhrita Shankachakraha Shri Dwaraka Nilayachyuta Govinda Pundarikaksha Rakshamam Sharanagatam. We do Arghya Pradhanam in the morning and the evening and the afternoon. So this is referred to Narayana within Surya Mandalam. How do you propitiate that Surya within that Narayana within Surya? Through Surya Gayatri. What is the Surya Gayatri? It is Tatsa Viturvarenyam. Bhargaha devasya dhimahi dhiyo yonaha prachodayat. Wonderful mantra, sir. But what happened to that Om Bhurбhuva Suvaha? That is an introduction. That is not Gayatri. That is an introduction. Gayatri begins only with Tatsa. And it is not Varenyam. It is Vareniyam. Why? If you say Varenyam, you will have only 7 letters. You need 8 to make it 8 into 3, 24. Vareniyam. Tatsa Vitur Vareniyam. 8. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. 8. Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. 8. 8 into 3, 24. So this is that Gayatri. Till now we have understood here. You remember about 32 minutes back, I told you when Narada Maharishi came to the ashramam of Valmiki, the first verse of Ramayana begins, Tapasvadhyaya niratam, tapasvi vagvidambaram, Naradam paripapracha, Valmikir muni pungavam. It says that the great one who is adept in tapasya, tapasvadhyaya niratam. The one who was extremely eloquent as a speaker, Vagvidambaram, Muni Pungavam, the leader of all rishis, that Narada came and made the tapasvi called Valmiki. What does this verse begin? Which aksharam? Ta. What is the first letter of Gayatri? Ta. Correct. So verse number 1 in Ramayanam begins with the aksharam Ta. The first letter of Gayatri mantra invoking Surya begins with Ta. What happened later? Then we know in Ramayana that Rama's Charitram begins. It speaks about Dasharatha Chakravarti who performed Putrakameshti, Ashwamedha Mahayagyam and then Putrakameshti with the advice given by his minister comes charioteer called Sumantra. So, Sumantra advises, they call Rishyashringa from Kigga, our Karnataka Pradesha. He goes with his wife Shanta, they perform. Ramayanam doesn't explicitly mention that Rishyashringa was the son-in-law, but Purana suggests that he was the son-in-law of Dasharatha. Why did Dasharatha do it this way? Because that was a strategic decision. Whenever some elderly person passes away in our house, on the 11th and 12th and 13th day, we do Danam, Godanam, Bhudanam, Swarnadanam, Rajatadanam. Generally, gold and silver, whatever Danam they will do it to the son-in-law of the house. So that the valuable property doesn't go outside the family. So, Dasharatha also practiced that. You cannot call it nepotism, but still, semi-nepotism. So, he asked Rishyashringa to conduct the yajna and he got the IFSC details and transferred. Now, as a result of that yajna, payasam emerged. That payasam was to be distributed. See, if I get into the Ramayana, it is an ocean. I've told this in many occasions, but I'll still tell to those people who might have not heard of it. Ramayanam suggests that when the payasam emerged, 50% was given to Kaushalya. See, Dasharatha was good in maths. It is very tough to divide 100 by 3. You will get 33.333, non-terminating decimal. So he consulted his legal person. The legal advisor said, sir, as per article 13F, you have to give 50% to Kaushalya. That it is only then she cannot sue you. So he gave Ardham to Kaushalya. Then he gave 25% to Sumitra. Remember, we often say Kaushalya, Kaikai, Sumitra. In many places in the Ramayana, Sumitra is referred to as Madhyamamba, the middle mother, not Kaikai. So, Sumitra was given 25%. How much is pending? 25%. In that half, so Kaikai said, I'm on a diet. So, I've been on quinoa and brown rice. So some tofu, which is in olive oil and avocado, can do well. So I'm very particular about the calories that I take. So Dasharatha said, so in many of the marriages that I go, now they keep the menu card next to that leaf. Have you seen? Then they will also mention 100 kilocalories. How will you eat? So Kaikai said, just give me half. So Dasharatha made 12.5%, 1 by 8. and gave it to Kaikeyi. Now how much is left? 12.5. Simple maths, sir. We are all at a different level. Nammatra ee tara jujubi prashne kelta idira. So 12.5 was left. The king was contemplating whom to give. If he gives to Kaushalya, Kaikeyi will file a case. If he gives to Kaikeyi, tomorrow he will get a summon. He looked into the wives. The moment Kaushalya received her 50% share, she drank. She's like us. 50%. Subsequently, it was given to Sumitra. Sumitra did not consume. Kaikeyi consumed her 12.5. After Sumitra is whom Kaikeyi received, but she consumed. Kaushalya consumed and Kaikeyi consumed. Now the king observed why Sumitra could have not consumed. He thought, it seems Sumitra would have thought, in case children are born to the three of us in the same order in which we have consumed payasa, then Kaushalya will have a son, later I may have, and after me Kaikeyi will have. If Kaikeyi's son is born after my son, he will be younger to my son. Thereby my son will lose the opportunity to serve him. So let me wait for Kaikeyi to consume that payasam and let me consume later, was her thought. What was going in her mind was taken cognizance by Dasharatha, because they were very well read in those days. So Dasharatha, who took cognizance of this thought, if at all somebody has the right to consume the remaining portion of 12.5, it is Sumitra. So he gave Sumitra the other portion. Nanuchintya Sumitra yai punareva mahamatihi. Ramayana says the intelligent king gave it to Sumitra. They were all pregnant. Tatascha dvadashe mase chaitre navamike titau. In Chitra Masa, Punarvasu Nakshatra, Rama was born. Each nakshatra has its own greatness. Every nakshatra, Ardra, Shrona, Pushya, Revati, Swati, every nakshatra has its own greatness. But it all depends in which Rashi you are born, because you could be in a nakshatra, but you could be in a different pada which is in a different Rashi. My maternal grandfather was a good astrologer. He's no more, don't come and ask me his address. He's no more. So, generally, whenever he used to meet extremely talented musicians and dancers, he used to correctly guess what their nakshatra is, because he will know in what position Shukra is, because Shukra is the Adhipati for fine arts. Buddha is Buddhikaraka, good memory. So, I think in 2021, when that Sarvavyapi Corona was in the second wave, I was directing a Samskrita movie called Shakuntalam. To direct a Samskrita movie, first the characters have to speak in Sanskritam. We cannot even go for dubbing. So first I had to spot one Dushyantha's character. So based on Kalidasa's description, I needed a broad-shouldered, thin hip, tall, gigantic Dushyantha. So I did some googling and I found one person called Shubham from Haryana. I called him and said, Shubham, Hanji boliye. I said, we are directing a Sanskrit movie. Would you like to play the role of Dushyantha? He said, Bachpan se mera shauk tha ki main Dushyant. Fine, all that. He said, you come. Interestingly, he picked up the dialogues in Sanskritam quite fast. So I was super impressed with that. So 4 months of online training of Sanskritam dialogues, I said, you have done a very great job. I wanted to know, when he has the finesse to do such things in such an exotic manner, I asked him, what is your nakshatram? What is your star? Like how my grandfather would ask. He said, Salman Khan. So, tatascha dvadashe mase chaitre navamike titau nakshatre aditi daivatye svocha samstheshu panchasu graheshu karkate lagne vakpada induna saha. So this is how Rama was born, and so were the brothers. There is nothing called Ram Leela. I've told in all my lectures, Rama was very obedient. Obedient children, parents will have no memories. You generally go ask parents who have produced obedient children, they will never have memories. The one who troubles the parents the most, they will remember till their last breath. No teacher will remember an obedient student. They will know the batch only by the most notorious student. Are you, oh, you're from Suresh's batch, Suresh. Where are you? Suresh would have troubled the teacher. She would have got BP for the first time because of Suresh. So Ram Leela, there's nothing except that Maidan in Delhi. So Rama grew. He was 12 years of age. Vishwamitra barged into the court of Dasharatha, said, please give me your son. Dasharatha, even before Vishwamitra asked, made a promise. Whatever you ask, I will give. Like an election manifesto, he did. Then he knows who fulfills election manifesto. So he couldn't give. Then Vishwamitra got angry. So Vasishta said, why do you get this man angry? Because he will get angry for all reasons. He is like Subramanyam Swami. Case. So immediately, finally, Vasishta said, I recommend, please send my dear student Rama, let him get university exchange program certificate from Vishwamitra as well. So as Rama left Ayodhya, he was accompanied by Lakshmana. Both of them went to the forest, he killed Tataka, then there was Yajna Samrakshanam for 6 nights. The Yajnam happened and Rama made Lakshmana stand in one place and he went around the Yajnavatika for 6 nights protecting the Yajnavatika from it being polluted with the flesh and the blood that used to be strewn and thrown by 2 Rakshasas called Subahu and Maricha. Finally, that 6th night, Subahu and Maricha come. Rama manages to vanquish them. He kills Subahu and drives away Maricha. The reason given by the commentator is if you are born on Navami Tithi, the dosham is you will leave something in balance. So that is why Rama left one in balance. The other reason is greater. Subahu and Maricha's mother was Tataka. Tataka was killed by Rama. Subahu was killed by Rama. Rama was worried, if Maricha is also killed, there will be left nobody in the family to perform the final rites of Tataka. So I will spare Maricha so that he can perform the final rites for his mother and brother. So the rishis were extremely blessed looking at Rama's character. Sahatva Rakshasan Sarvan Yagnagnan Raghunandanaha Rishi Pujayastatra Yathendro Vijayi Pura. Whatever I've described now, till now, about 12-13 minutes. 1000 verses are gone. Now I told you Sahatva. This is the 1001st verse. So first verse is Tapasvadhyaya Niratam. What was the Akshara there? Ta. Now this is Sahatva. What is the Akshara here? First letter Sa. So, if you extract the first letter of the first verse of every set of 1000 verses, put them together, you get Tatsa Viturva Reniyam Bhargaha. You get the entire Gayatri mantra. Of course, we take pride in talking about Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code, where there is a Last Supper, and then you see the chalice, and then the Holy Grail, and what is this? This is Valmiki's code in the Ramayana. He has coded the Gayatri mantra as the first akshara of every 1000. What a marvel it is. Why? Not because of the Surya worship that I am telling you. There's another reason. Rama comes in the lineage of Surya. Dinakaran Vayatilakam. He comes in the Vamsha of Surya. So if you now look at the slide, you see Ranganatha in one of the slides. Do you see Ranganatha with the Utsava Murti? That Ranganatha with the Utsava Murti is the Kula Deivam, the family deity of Ram Lalla. That Ranganatha is connected to the violet color horse. What is the first horse? Vibgyor, V, violet horse. What is the horse called? Gayatri has how many letters? That is why the Mandapam before Ranganatha in Srirangam has 24 pillars. It is called Gayatri Mandapam. So this Gayatri, who is positioned as Gayatri Mata, is the first horse of Surya's chariot. Surya, Aruna and the horses are seen. Rama comes in whose Vamsha? Surya Vamsha. So the entire cycle of Surya, Surya Vamsha Rama, Rama's Kuladhanam Ranganatha, Ranganatha having 24 pillared Gayatri Mandapam. That Gayatri is the first horse. Gayatri has 24 letters which is connected to Surya is a cycle. So it is catch 24. Now that I have spoken, the next slide it talks about the 3 wheels. I told you, right? 8 into 3, 24. The first wheel you go clockwise from the bottom. Tatsaviturvareniyam. Second wheel, go from the bottom. Bhargo devasya dhimahi. Go to the third wheel, below. Dhiyo yo na prachodayat. You may wonder why it is dhi, but you have written dha. Whether it is dhi or dha, that is the aksharam, says the commentator Govindaraja. So what a marvel to have Gayatri Mantram. But now that I have spoken about Gayatri, 2 important things about Gayatri Mantram. Gayatri Mantram, can it be recited in the open? Like this? No. Then why did you do it, sir? That is why I did not recite. I just spelt it. With the swaram, if you recite, it is prohibited because it is a Vedic mantra. Mantra rakshana gudhatma karya siddhim prakashayet. You should learn to say mantra within yourself. Even while you are reciting Sahasranamam, there will be one place where you get Pranavam, Namo Bhagavataye, Vasudevaya. You will get that. That time you should tell it slowly. Whenever there is Pranava, Omkara, you should tell it within yourself. Gayatri Mantram should not be recited by everyone as the traditional belief. Now you may ask, sir, in 2025, do you suggest that we have to follow such things? What does Barkha and Rajdeep think about? Let them think. But I am here to tell you what our Acharyas have said. They have said, don't recite Gayatri Mantram without Upadesham and don't recite it openly. What will happen if I recite openly? Don't worry, your head will not be taken away from your body. This is a civilization that is very tolerant and respectful, but it is a belief. Now, that said about Gayatri, it has an inbuilt tune. The rishis themselves have given a tune. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Ringtone. Don't do that. Because Gayatri has a tune. We already have the rishis. Certain mantras will not have the rishis who have tune. For that, A.R. Rahman will tune. Mangalyam tandunane mama jivana hetuna kanthe badnami shubhage. Why has he tuned? Because that is not a part of Vedic mantras. Mangalyam tandunanena is not found in the Vedas. So traditionally, Panigrahanam is the accepted ritual. Even in an invitation, they will say Panigrahanam Sheidu Kolvadai. They will never say Mangalya Dharanam. So are you saying, sir, Mangalya Dharanam can be avoided? No. 8 sovereigns of gold. Why to avoid? There. Had my mother-in-law given me, I would have also worn. It would have been very nice on me. So, but traditionally, Mangalya Dharanam is not a part of the ancient Vedic circuit. So, for Gayatri Mantram, you have to recite this way. Now, you may ask, sir, if you are telling only people who have undergone Upanayanam and Mantropadesham have to recite, then what about the others? That is why this mantra has been converted into shloka for everybody's recitation by 2 acharyas. One is Parashara Bhatta, who says 1000 years back, Teja param tatsaviturvarenyam dhamna parenat pranakat suvarnam tvam pundarike kshanamamananti shrirangarajam tamupasishiya Teja param tatsaviturvarenyam is the shloka. So the mantra has been incorporated as a shloka. When it becomes a shloka, everybody can say. Vedanta Deshika says, Pratipurushamanekaha pratyavastham vichitraha shubhagati shuddhiyo yaschodayantyanjasamnaha Akhila chida chidantaryami tat Vishnu sanya savidur aham upase tasya devasya bhargaha savitur aham upase tasya devasya bhargaha bhargo devasya dhimahi. So these shlokas everybody can recite. So restrictions on some mantras that can be compensated with shlokas. That's it. That is catch 24. Now,